What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 61. Here with my guy, Bretton. How are you?
I am over the moon. Hey, episode 61, we're back on track after a week hiatus. And I have to announce to everybody, my wife and I, we welcomed a baby boy, Brooks, to our family. So it has been a sleep-deprived, literally not knowing what we're doing type of week. And I am really happy to be back in this seat, to be back with you. And one of these times I'll bring Brooks out and I'll show everybody. But hey, if I say anything wrong today, it's all Brooks's fault. But I'm really happy to be back, Alex. How you feeling? You doing well?
I'm doing good, man. And congratulations on Brooks, man.
Thank you.
Man, I'm excited on this because I'm dying to speak to you about all the news that I've been seeing going on. And I'll start with the big boys that I think will be one of the stars of the show in this summer transfer window. It's Chelsea, baby. Chelsea are going to put on a show, ins and outs, in my opinion, because Ziyech is leaving. Pulisic, we see a ton of news that he's leaving. Lukaku's left. And Broja's reportedly going to West Ham for 30 million. Who's coming in? What's the plan? So something needs to happen. I see a ton of players to leave, but I see little to no news. Recently, but not a lot of news of people to come forwards with Chelsea, with the strike force. So let's see. But
it's just a lot of talk right now. And Todd Boehly, I told you this previously. He, as the owner of the LA Dodgers, they have the largest payroll in all of baseball, I believe. So you're talking about a guy that is not afraid to spend. Okay. And I think what's happening here is that they're amassing all the resources, and Romelu Lukaku for 115 million, whatever it was, euros or pounds, down the drain. I don't think that he cares about that in the same way a Manchester United cares about getting snake bitten again. I think Todd Boehly is ready to spend. But I've also been out of the game the last couple weeks, so you got to tell me, who's he spending on?
Well,
who's he bringing in?
Todd Boehly, for me, having the role of a sporting director right at the start of his Chelsea legacy, that is bold. Very bold. Control, exactly. He wants to make a stance. And I think you don't need to be a genius to understand that Armand Broja is a very good young striker. If you see the Southampton tape, people will understand. He played very well. Albanian youngster. He'll play for the national team too. So he's a very attractive striker. And going to West Ham, in my opinion, says to me, well, the Declan Rice deal in the future is much more accessible for Chelsea, in my opinion, with a deal like this of Armand Broja. Deals that make both clubs be happy, you know what I mean? So I don't know if Declan Rice will go to Chelsea this summer, but the next one, definitely. Or this one, or the next one. Kind of a Real Madrid feeling with Mbappe, but it's if it's inevitable, let's see if it happens. It's all time. It's all a case of time. But
it's that inevitability that makes it so intriguing, because Chelsea could totally use him in this upcoming season. But when all is said and done, I think they've got their eyes on maybe making an even bigger splash. I'm just worried about, like, where are we looking with this Chelsea defense after they've lost pretty much, I don't know, everybody for the most part?
And a player that's big time in the news for Chelsea is De Ligt. And it makes total sense. Todd Boehly would ask, who's the best young center back in the world? De Ligt. Done deal. Yeah. That's it. That's the only thing I need to know. Who is the best to come and then the present? So I feel those are the types of moves that he will try to get. And I can see, Thomas Tuchel can see, the world of football can see that Neymar ain't happy at PSG, and PSG ain't happy with Neymar. And it makes total sense for a club like Chelsea to step up and go bold for Neymar. In my opinion, I think this deal can happen. I'm not going to say it's going to happen 100%, but Chelsea are definitely in the top 3 list to get Neymar. I put Juve there too, because I feel like Juve need a 10 with the Dybala departure. And Juve can spend big all of a sudden, like we saw with Vlahovic. They spend big all of a sudden.
I've questions about that, but yes,
but
they can.
And so they do have that power, Juve.
Right.
So I can't see other teams. Man City won't pull the trigger for Neymar. Liverpool won't pull the trigger. But Chelsea will. And living in London with a coach, Thomas Tuchel, that knows Neymar very well, all the right pieces for a bold scenario to happen at Chelsea. So,
purely from a well, you do believe it. I'm a little more skeptical about that. But then again, I look at it and I say new ownership, kicking those. Remember, you and I were definitely on the same page when we were talking about Marina, right? Marina, or is it Karina? Marina.
Yes, Marina, yes.
Marina, who is on her way out now. Todd Bowley has picked up. Yep, on her way out. We literally were, singing her praises when she did the get rid of the academy pieces, Mark Gahey, all these pieces. It all added up to what, 115 million or so that was spent on a player that wound up literally, doing reverse Pogba. What do you want to call it? Out the door, not once, but twice. And in this scenario, that money that she raised did nothing. I think Todd Bowley's going to look at it completely differently. I agree with you. He's going to be bull in a china shop. I think he's literally going to go into it and say, what is the big name I can buy? And I'm talking myself into agreeing with you on this. Now, you probably have a more educated approach to what we're thinking, but from feel, seeing Neymar in that blue shirt, I don't know. I don't know. And it would be a completely different era. But you're right. The only other team in the Premier League that could probably go after him right now is another shirt that I can't see him in, and that's Newcastle United. But
Bruno Guimaraes link up with Neymar.
Insane.
Newcastle would become a global brand immediately. Well, right now they are improving, okay? Shout out. Well, we're going to talk more about Newcastle Forest. They're making right calls, but Neymar would be a heavy call. A 30-year-old player that wants to win immediately and has a legacy to prove with a World Cup. Look, I believe something's going to happen, and this summer, Neymar is 100% leaving PSG. But you said a blockbuster player will come to Chelsea. I see news. It's inevitable to talk about it. I see news about Cristiano to Chelsea, okay? Because Jorge Mendes met Mr. Todd Boehly. So, I don't think it's happening. Happening because for United, it would be embarrassing, him going to Chelsea, in my opinion. Because if he does that, he's saying to the club that the players aren't good enough and that he doesn't believe in the future project too. In which, it's morale-wise, it's heavy, okay? And Fabrizio Romano revealed that Cristiano Ronaldo wants to see moves in this transfer window. And come on, if United are going to change, definitely need a shake in the summer.
Yeah.
So players are leaving.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves there because United needs a shake and they haven't shaken a dang thing yet. Okay, they haven't done anything while every other club around them is essentially making moves. And this isn't chess. You've known at United that you've needed to make moves for 6-7 months now as the ship felt like it was going down, and you've done nothing. You've done nothing to appease Ronaldo. You've done nothing to make it feel like there's actual change happening.
Fuck.
So if this is just agents playing games, right, with the Ronaldo talk, that's fine. But part of me actually looks at it and says, I think Ronaldo feels like they're not doing enough to improve this squad. And it's the same thing And when you look at Chelsea, Chelsea needs somebody that can plug the gap of their embarrassment. Their embarrassment was Romelu Lukaku. And they need somebody that will come in and give them 15, 20, 25 goals in a year. Cristiano Ronaldo is the quickest way to that without taking an 80, 90 million flyer on another striker that may have done it for 1 year in the Bundesliga or 1 year, whatever. So I actually, from a sporting sense, it makes a little bit of sense for me with Ronaldo, but you're right. I can't see him doing that. But here's the thing: is I mentioned Todd Boehly is going to find somebody. If it's not Ronaldo, if it's not Neymar, right? There is going to be a big target, and I would like to ask the listeners who they think that big target is going to be, because the names really aren't that. Like, the list isn't that long out there.
Put in the comment section down below, people, who do you think Chelsea is going to get? The names are Krish, Neymar, De Ligt, Ousmane Dembele. There was some news too. Conde.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Jules Conde. And Rice, obviously. Did I say Rice?
You said Rice in there at the beginning. But I do have to say one thing. If Neymar goes to Chelsea, okay, and I'm literally talking myself into this. If Neymar goes to Chelsea, I know it's very unlikely, but I would pay everything to see Christian Pulisic play alongside Neymar in some capacity. Because I honestly believe like that would work incredibly well. Very biased take. Understand I'm American, but my goodness, would I pay to see that? I do understand that they would probably need to sell him. But I think with an American owner, I don't think Christian Pulisic is going anywhere.
And let me ask you this, because we spoke on off. Who would you rather have between Neymar and Christian for Chelsea? Who would you pick between the two for Chelsea?
I know you and I talked offline about this for like 2 seconds beforehand, and I think I'm like changing my mind again and again because I'm a waffler. What can I say? But Cristiano Ronaldo plugs the gap that they need right now, which is goal scoring, which is a functional 9, functional whatever, because we know he can play a bunch of places. But he's a functional poacher, target striker, anything you need him to be. Ronaldo will score goals for you. Exactly what Lukaku was not, exactly what Timo Werner isn't. Exactly what Kai Havertz is. They're hoping him to be, but he's not really kind of doing that, although he's becoming functional. So part of me feels like Ronaldo is the short-term choice. The other part of me feels like if you can get a happy Neymar, which I think does not exist. I'm sorry. I think a happy Neymar does not exist in terms of club setting.
He was at Barca.
Yeah, that's the happiest he ever was, and he was never necessarily in the limelight. He was in the limelight with he's got this at PSG. He has it at PSG. He's got Messi. He's got Neymar. He is Neymar. There's that brain fart I was telling you about. It's Messi. It's Neymar. It's Mbappe still there. I mean, come on. You've got your setup where the world is not on your shoulders any longer. You've got the right setting. The grass is not greener on the other side for a club. So while I think if I have to look at it from a sporting perspective, I am now going to flip it on its head, and I'm going to say Neymar long-term at Chelsea doesn't make sense. Cristiano Ronaldo short-term at Chelsea makes a lot of sense. Even though I agree with you, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that would be the better play for Chelsea until they find their long-term target.
I agree with the take, and I do believe Neymar to Chelsea will, but Krish won't happen to Chelsea. And long-term, watch the tape, because I will want to look back one day, because I believe you are right on the money with it. And just so I was saying to people, because as I said, Lukaku leaving, Pulisic, Ziyech, Armand Broja, someone had to come. Neymar comes, but he still isn't the striker. And Kai Havertz, great number 9, but he still needs someone else. And my bold transfer for Chelsea would be like a Harry Kane at striker if they couldn't get Ronaldo, okay? Because Tottenham, if they get Richarlison, that I've said it in the past, I believe that they will anticipate, get the striker, and then they'll just sell Kane, and everyone is happy. It's a much happier scenario than not having a replacement for Kane and Kane leaving. So
Yeah,
if
Harry
it's
Kane makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and Conte being the manager at Tottenham too, it's
Yeah.
a relief, and it makes it easier for Harry Kane to leave for Tottenham fans, in Tottenham fans' eyes, because they believe, oh, he'll go, but we'll get something back, something greater. We'll have a team maybe. So,
Ooh.
well, a better team, because they have a great team there in the top four, okay? But yes, we can talk now
But
top four type beat, not Chelsea. And Frankie de Jong was
oh my
mentioned
goodness.
briefly. And look, the longer this goes for Man United, the more embarrassing it is. The Frankie de Jong to Man United. Because we all know Man United wants it. Frankie de Jong, he doesn't even want it a lot. He's just like,
No.
it's inevitable. What can I do? But he's working with Erik ten Hag, so it's a great bonus. But
Sure.
come on, just make it happen. And great for me, I said it too, like Calvin Phillips going to Man City now, it just accelerates an awful lot the process of Frankie de Jong going to Man United. Because let's be honest, who would sign Frankie?
Right.
City.
I mean, City would be, first and foremost. I don't know what is United's issue as it stands. If
It's
Ten
the
Hag
money.
wants de Jong, it is the money. But even guys we thought were shoo-ins for the Erik Ten Hag project at United, they're not there yet.
True.
They're not there yet. Jurrien Timber, not there yet.
Yep.
Christian Eriksen, not there yet. I don't know if that was actually a part, but there is obviously rumors that Christian Eriksen was approached and he turned them down. And there's only one out there that, has said essentially, I will follow Erik ten Hag to the ends of the earth, and that's Anthony. He's not even there yet, right? If that's even a viable solution for United. But really what it comes down to is United fans are like poking, Old Trafford, poking Manchester United, saying, get this done. And I think that the moving on and Erik ten Hag having to vocalize that he didn't want Ralph Rangnick in the consultancy role, I think there's just a little more jostling that's getting done to iron out, all of the control that Ten Hag should have at United. But this is something that they should have been working on for, I don't know. But if you don't have a boss in place,
the players should be happier. The players should be happier about joining Erik ten Hag, a former coach, and Man United.
should be.
Frankie de Jong should be. And he's not happy. Why? Because he feels like he's not going to a sporting project that is beneficial for his future, maybe. And it's like, well, I'll be hated if I don't go. Like, literally, the Man United fandom is obsessed with Frankie de Jong right now. Okay? 70 million pounds, okay? It's a big investment, okay? And it's not the the most appropriate start, in my opinion, for Erik ten Hag. That's a huge, you're going to start. The first memory we're going to have of Erik ten Hag is Frankie de Jong coming in with him. That's going to be the first. That's pressure. That is added pressure right at the start. So it should be more like a Man United type transfer. Like you said, like a project, like a thought process transfer. Not just, oh, Frankie de Jong's available. We can get him. Let's go get him. No, they should have got him before.
I hate to really draw, there is a viable comparison here to Arteta and the Arsenal transfer policy at the beginning of last year, essentially. It was them essentially saying, we need these particular pieces. We need to get the right pieces. We railed Arsenal for how much they spent on Ramsdale, on Ben White, a lot of these people have brought them back to European football. Sure, they bungled it. They could have gotten Champions League football. They didn't. But ultimately, did they make progress? Yes. United, you should at least have, and I honestly, I put this in front of probably Ten Hag more than anybody else now. I agree with you. I think Ten Hag might be getting cold feet in the sense of, I don't want a big business transfer day one to be my Romelu Lukaku, because how many times have previous managers been snake bitten, whether it's Harry Maguire, whether it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, whether it's even and I'm going to say it, Jadon Sancho is still young, but Jadon Sancho, right?
No.
This is a lot of, not that Sancho's bad, I'm just saying it's a lot of money spent for little output at the moment in time. So it's what is it called? Like once bitten, twice shy, or it's like a snake bitten approach to this. And let's be honest, Erik ten Hag, has he ever had control of the size of a transfer budget that he currently has control of?
Fuck, not that never happened. Exactly, very true. But he has worked at a big club at Bayern, and he has seen how good organizational transfers and decisions are done. So there is hope too for Man United with that. But the truth is too, how will Erik ten Hag win anything with a midfield of Scott McTominay and Fred? They don't even go with his playing style. Okay, a double pivot with McTominay and Fred. I like Fred. But McTominay at the pivot, that just couldn't happen. So yes, getting that 6-year sorted is the immediate to get the top 4. And I might say this too. This is the worst midfield ever in Cristiano Ronaldo's career. Ever, McTominay and Fred. I literally think he's never been with another midfield like that. At Real, at United in the past, he's not used to this. And at Portugal, qualité, okay? João Moutinho for the past few years. But, so, they really need to sort out the midfield. And the other point you mentioned was players like Bissaka, Maguire, Sancho, yes. These are assets that their value has to be the ones that they bought them for, at least. Come on. And I believe with Sancho, I have high hopes with Ten Hag. I have high hopes. And there's another player, too. I don't see a lot of news that I do have high hopes with Ten Hag, or I'm beginning to have higher hopes with Ten Hag. Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford isn't being talked, okay? There's no going here, going there news. There's nothing with Rashford. Yeah. And in the past, you see, he's going to Barca, he's going to Barca. There was a ton of news. But the fact that everything's silent, I believe that Rashford is focused. And I'm predicting a Marcus Rashford turnaround season next season with Ten Hag. Because I think he suits the rule. He suits the role. If we saw Anthony going bold, I believe that Rashford has the quality to go bold with Ten Hag. And both wings, come on. Rashford, Sancho, that can be bold. And another thing you mentioned briefly, Anthony. The asking price of Anthony right now, I have here in my notes, 70, 80 million? Oh, come on, Ajax. Like, Ajax sells Gravenberch to Bayern for 20 million. For 20 million. They sell their top goal scorer, Haller, for 35 million to Dortmund. And now you're asking United for Timber, 60 million. Anthony, 80 million. This makes no sense with these evaluations. So, in my
familiarity... but I'm just going to say familiarity breeds contempt. Well, they know Erik ten Hag wants him that much, so they will raise the price on him.
Exactly. So that's why I believe that United shouldn't go for them, because United shouldn't be bullied to get a price. It should be a glory, like they say, glory, Man United. It should be glorious for the player to represent Man United, okay? A player like Timber Anthony at Ajax, they should be happy. They should be pushing Ajax to lower that price. And the fact that doesn't happen, you know what I mean? So it's and there's another player, Lisandro Martinez, too, asking price 50, 60 million. Like, come on. But Ajax are going to make proper money, okay, this window.
They are.
Mazrui, okay, free. That doesn't count. Haller, 35. Gravenberch, 20. Anthony, maybe. Timber, maybe. Lisandro Martinez leaving. That's easily more than 150 million if everyone goes. Easily.
And then you look at Ajax and you're like, what are you going to do with that money? Build more academies? Build more fields?
True.
Because you're not going to be able to spend $70 million to bring somebody into the Dutch Eredivisie. It's just not going to happen. I'm with you. The valuations seem off. I think he should have probably changed tact. And I'm a little surprised that Ten Hag did not go after any of the Portuguese contingent that are already moving to different clubs. The Vitinhas, the Mateus Nunes, the Paulinha. They might be still in for them. But ultimately, yeah, if you want something that draws parallels, that's probably a good place to start.
I'll just say this. I'll just say that you mentioned Vitinha, Man United. If Man
Yeah.
United have had a double pivot next season, starting with Frankie de Jong and Vitinha,
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
it would be night and day from what you're used to with Frankie and McTominay.
Absolutely.
The ball retention, the quality of pass, everything would be much better. And people, they don't defend. Come on. Smart movement, smart play, being in the right place at the right time. That's what Frankie and Vitinha do. They read the game differently. Okay, so Eriksen, I saw that you said, though, Eriksen refused United? That happened?
That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like.
Man. So he's staying at Brentford?
Well, I don't know if he's staying at Brentford, but he's not going to Manchester United, is what it seems. Unless, of course, this is a tactic. But I just got to say, like, how pissed would you be if you're a Manchester United fan? And I actually don't mean this as a negative or a positive necessarily, because I might actually want to see this, but I kind of would like to see a Ten Hag era if he has the control needed. I'd almost like to see him start the season giving James Garner some opportunities, giving Hannibal Mejbri some opportunities to get ingrained with the side, figure out what your absolute weaknesses are, and maybe because you are snake bitten, because it is tough in this transfer world right now, maybe that's the best case scenario. But that also means there's going to be short-term impatience. There's going to be short-term hatred rained down from above by Manchester United fans that want success and they want it now. But maybe that's what
you got Elanga too. You got
Elanga,
very attractive. Garnacho. Everybody mentions Garnacho, the future. So, man. So there is hope. There are an amazing rebuild can happen. So put down below, people. What do you think Man United should do right now in the transfers, getting it done? So we mentioned top four because United wants to fight for that top four, and we see Tottenham and Arsenal going bold in the window, okay? And I gotta say, Arsenal's transfer business right now, much, much better than it was 3-4 years ago. And I have to say, Arteta has a hand in that. So Arteta, great job with the transfers. In my opinion, I'm liking them, what I'm seeing. And I gotta say, in the past, Arsenal signed Lacazette, Aubameyang, Ozil, and Mkhitaryan for 198 million. How much money did these players give in transfers when they left Arsenal? Zero. That is a problemo. A huge problem at Arsenal, okay? That they can't even value assets that are leaving the club on free cheaps. Come on. You're being used. So that can't happen anymore. And I think with Arteta and with these decisions of making a team, a young group that wants to win, that's the right move, man. Because Ramsdale, goalkeeper. Tomiyasu, I like him. Nobody mentions Saliba. If Saliba plays at the level that we see him in the French national team, it's not even like in a lower league. It's the French national team. If we see him at that level at Arsenal, this top four is more than realistic for Arsenal fans. Yeah. More than realistic.
It's completely realistic to say that Saliba was the best defender, best center back in League One last year. Amongst the Marquinhos, amongst the Sven Botmans, amongst,
Preach.
Was a fun. Yeah. So, it comes down to the fact that can Saliba do it on a rainy day in Stoke? No, just kidding. Can he do it in the Premier League? Will he be, to go back to the Neymar thing, will he be centered enough? Will he be happy enough? And hopefully Arteta is doing all he can to make sure that that's going to happen. Because that depth is ridiculous. That depth is ridiculous if and when it comes. But the big one that hasn't gotten across the line, and I know you and Carvalho talked about this quite a bit.
Yes.
Gabriel Jesus. It's one of those ones that it looks so good on paper that I almost feel like it's going to fail.
I get you.
You know what I mean?
I get you. And the first thing that's a huge red flag is that Arsenal think they're going to sign their target man striker, the man that's going to score all the goals. I don't have that feeling with Gabriel Jesus. And Tite, the national team coach of Brazil, has said in the past that he prefers to play on the wing. So the long-term expectations of Arsenal fans with Gabriel Jesus, yes, expect goals. But maybe you'll have to get a striker, another striker. So, again, it might be the same talk in the future. So, hopefully, Arteta has a special role for Gabriel Jesus at the number 9 position. And, yeah, if that's the case, it's more than justified, the 60 million. But if he goes to the wing in the future, I think that's a bit overpriced. It's a bit overpriced for the contract. Yeah, he's got 2 years of contract left in his deal, right? So that's a bit. So it's a good deal.
And don't get me wrong, like his versatility, everything that he was for City. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he is in the top 10 all time of goals per game or goals per 90 minutes when it comes down to it over a certain amount of appearances. Well, I mean, I think he had like something like 78 Premier League goals or something.
If you don't count April, it was April.
Yeah.
April just.
Oh, that was just April?
Yeah, April he had like 7 goals.
Oh, well, yeah. So I mean, it really just comes down to the whole thought process, the whole like the vigor with which they're going at Gabriel Jesus. It's one of those things where you want it, you look at it, you say, this should work out.
Yeah.
Arsenal fans should be 100% happy about this. His versatility does mean he can play on the wing, which great. But at the same time, it just feels like that's one of those things where maybe we thought that exact same way after Lacazette tore things up for Lyon in League One, and it just didn't materialize.
But
right?
I would have loved to have seen Lacazette next season with Arsenal. Personally, I'll be honest with you, Breton, because, Eddie Nketiah, I like him, and I feel like that's a bold decision by Arteta to retain Nketiah. Because they could have got 2027, that extension is. And if he's there, he's going to be used. And it was bold in my opinion. And there's another thing that has to happen too at Arsenal. And I'm going to say the listeners, because I receive a ton of questions for Fabio Vieira. Where's he going to play? What's he going to do? And I'm going to say this, for all the Arsenal fans out there, please go get another 8-man, okay? Partey, Tielemans, and then have a decision of Odegaard Vieira, okay? Fabio Vieira will be terrific, but he needs someone like Vitinha, like a Tielemans, supporting him to give him that freedom and that option to pass that is so secure like Vitinha is. Tielemans fits the bill completely. And Arsenal, that would be amazing, man. That would be amazing.
Serious question for you. Do you think at all, and I kind of already know the answer to this.
Yes.
Do you think Fabio Vieira is a little too small for the Prem?
I
mean, I honestly feel like he is going to get bodied. I feel like he is going to get destroyed, and there will be a transition period that I think right now people are not giving him the patience or are already pricing in the fact that their impatience is going to Arsenal fans might turn on him early on. Is what I'm saying.
With you, he's a ruthless kid, man. This is a kid that doesn't hold back, and the fact that I feel like he's the way he is because he plays the way he plays best with that body, man. Trust me. The way he moves, he's silky. He's silky, and what I gotta say too with Fabio Vieira is the way he just drops on the wing, the way he just goes to the midfield all of a sudden. I feel like if he was a bit more bulked up, he couldn't be as fast, or I don't know, that magician role.
I'm just saying he could call up Fabio Silva and get his regimen, because Fabio Silva's looking pretty damn good these days. Get him that regimen. No, I'm just saying, like, he looks like a guy you look across the other midfields, right, in the Premier League. And even a guy like Ruben Neves, since he's moved into the league, he has bulked up some. Not big. Though. I'm not talking.
Like
I
Kevin De
understand
Bruyne.
Kevin
De Bruyne.
De Bruyne has bulked up some. He used to be Mr. Skin and bones. Now. Foden. Yeah.
He's athletic. Yeah. He's got fiber too. But I get where you're coming from, definitely. And look at Odegaard. Odegaard. I think you're right with that. He will improve physics. That will be the biggest change with Vieira. But what's not going to change about Fabio is the way he finds the goals, Breton, and the assists.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
I
I'm with you.
believe. Look, I'm going to say this. Bold statement. I believe Fabio Vieira will have more than 5 assists in the Premier League in the first season straight away. Boom. Five assists. That's more than acceptable. I don't think I'm going too bold. I'll be honest with you. For me, I believe 10. I believe 10 for real. Me. I believe 10. But 5, I feel like that's.
I mean, I was gonna say that didn't sound bold enough for you because I think with the price tag was reasonable and this and that, but it was one very, very solid season and a solid season where he also wasn't starting as much as say somebody that would post that number. You couldn't get him out of the 11 late in the season. I got that, but when it comes down to it, I do think there needs to be a little more patience with this transition, and I do think it won't be like that. And hey, if it is, that's great. But if people are only, I can tell you right now, Arsenal fans, they're not expecting just 5 assists from him. They want 10 from the get-go.
Well, what they can expect from Fabio Vieira is a player that can contribute in the future of Arsenal and is a very good stepping stone in creating a legacy. And he's the right player for an Arteta legacy to go right. So
I'm with you.
I go with that. And what I just want to end up with Arsenal, because I really don't want to forget this one, is if Gabriel Jesus goes to Arsenal, I fully believe they still need to get another winger. And so me seeing the news about Rafinha, I love that. Rafinha and Gabriel Jesus both to Arsenal, that would be creme de la creme type beat, in my opinion, okay? So, but the left side, Martinelli and Smith Rowe.
Where are we getting this money, though? That's
Arsenal, Arsenal's they've been saving a lot, though. And let's be honest, Arsenal, they don't spend big, like ever since Ozil, Sanchez.
And Pepe? Nicholas Pepe?
Oh, yeah, Pepe, true. But they didn't go for Osimhen. I thought they were going to spend that Osimhen money, but they still kept it. They still kept it locked at. But I agree with you, Pepe. That was
I mean, somebody's gonna have to leave. Somebody's gonna have to leave. I know the wage bill is down. Lacazette gone. Aubameyang gone. But somebody likely would have to leave to be able to bring in Rafinha for 60 million plus.
True.
True. And I do agree. If they sign Rafinha, I think that's a bigger signing for them than Fabio Vieira, then pretty much anyone else still sign in the window. I'm just saying from the get-go, this is a guy that understands the Prem. This is a guy that even when the ship was sinking at Leeds United with Bielsa, he was still putting in his shifts as, he was playing as hard as he absolutely could. He was still, making the highlight reels, still doing what he had to do. And I think this is the guy that Arsenal fans can really, from the get-go, maybe if they get him, it will cause Arsenal fandom to give Fabio Vieira the time to transition that I think he's going to need. But Rafinha would be a brilliant signing if somehow they can fit him under the.
That would be fucked. And you went bold. They're saying better than Fabio, but
just saying.
Love it. And I'm just gonna say this too: if Tottenham and Arsenal are gonna surpass Chelsea in the Premier League table, it's with a big season of William Saliba. And for Tottenham, Christian Romero, okay? I fully believe these two center backs can be in the team of the season, okay? At the end of next season. If both teams have an amazing campaign. So that is another bold prediction I just wanted to put out there with Romero because we saw that Romero with Conte looked very, very different. And let's see, fingers crossed with Saliba. Fingers crossed with Saliba. But you mentioned fast leads with Rafinha. Brendan Aronson done. Rafinha leaving. But there's players that are coming in. And yes, it wasn't just to Rasmus Christensen. But we see a ton of news now of Charles de Ketteler coming to Leeds. And the other player that I was surprised was Cody Gakpo to go to Leeds too. So I think it's 10-15 million, the reported fee. So that just shows like Leeds are doing great business. Okay. Calvin Phillips left. Okay. And I think they are gonna spend that money wisely.
Yeah, and
So
they might even be able to bring in Tyler Adams from the Red Bulls system as well to replace Calvin Phillips, which, there's a whole
that's
lot of
good.
similarities. Tough tackler. Part of me, though, feels like Jesse Marsh might need to look somewhere else, but as an
Sagagay.
American, I would love for it to become Leeds USA. You get a little Aronson, you got Marsh on the sideline acting like a 21-year-old kid, celebrating. I
I
don't
love
know,
him. Love him.
last minute goal every time. But Tyler Adams in the back, yeah. If they get to Ketelaere,
Oh my
if they get,
gosh.
it'd be a fun team to watch. Whether or not they can stay up, that's going to decide on how everybody gels, and that's the issue. You sign a bunch of really promising youngsters, you get younger all of a sudden. One of them breaks down, you're right back where you were last year in a relegation battle because the rest of the ship needs to be patched up elsewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I will be really, really interested. The Calvin Phillips deal,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that would get done as smoothly as it did. And man, Pep got his man. Pep targeted. It was just like, whoo.
Mm-hmm.
The Calvin Phillips is a great get for City. I'm kind of sad to see him.
And this
go,
too. This too. You mentioned like now City fast. It's like you look at Manchester United and you look at Man City. Mm-hmm. You see Man City done deal with Haaland, done deal with Calvin Phillips, done deal previously with Julian Álvarez even, and Marco Kurela in the talks to be a done deal too. Elite management here. We used to see United making these types of decisions, and now City is the club that everyone wants to be like one day, okay?
Yeah.
So times have changed. Sterling leaving, Jesus, they just know what to do. They just know what
and they're paying for it for the most part. And where are they paying for it?
True. Just
they know their academy is not necessarily up to snuff to the point where you're going to necessarily give a CJ Egan-Riley, minutes next year. You're not going to give why am I blanking on another name? Gavin Bazunu is not. He's superfluous. Mm-hmm. He's not necessarily needed at this time. You've got Ederson, and then you'll bring in another backup if they let Zach Steffen go.
Right?
And Edozie for 10 million. If you can get 10 million pounds for a 19-year-old Edozie that you're not going to pay going to Leverkusen, by all means do it. Because that I get it. While I hate to see it happen with City's academy. I think Cole Palmer is the only one that Pep looks at right now out of there and says, and maybe Liam Delap still has a chance. He's still coming back. He's playing really well in the U19 Euros for England. But to be honest, I just think it's Chelsea-like when it came to raising money for Lukaku. But you're taking guys that really are not going to play. Edozie at Leverkusen could break out, or he could be CJ Egan-Riley. You don't know what's going to happen. And there's one going to Leeds. Oh, man.
The CDM, right? I don't know. But yes, I just want to say this too. Like, City buy, as I said previously, City buy Haaland, Calvin Phillips, maybe Cucurella, and Álvarez. And they even get more money, with the profit by selling Sterling, Jesus, and Bernardo Silva. They sign all these players, and they still have a profit by just selling these three players. And what they bring in, Haaland, come on! Oh my days, the levels. But you mentioned too, Gavin Bazunu, 14 million to Southampton. And what a young defense Southampton has, right? Gavin Bazunu, Saliso, Livramento, and all great deals. Saliso was like 12 million, Livramento 5. So great business by Southampton, man. Great business.
It is. And I remembered his name. It's Darko Giabi. Darko Giabi is on his way apparently to Leeds. But Southampton's been smart in doing this relatively recently, I guess. I mean, the Livramento for 5 million is going to go down as probably one of the better steals over the last maybe 5 years in the transfer market in the Premier League.
Completely.
I mean, it's just a great signing and a kid that's like just getting started. And they also just brought in a Bundesliga player. I'm forgetting his first name, but his last name is easy to remember.
Armel.
Arnel Bella Kotchap.
Yes.
for like 10 million or so, which if you don't know him, I mean, he's speedy and he's big and strong. And I could see him and Salisu, forming a very good partnership for years and years to come. He'll need some time. But yeah, Southampton, do I ever think they'll get back to the days of, Sadio Mane, Tadic, all those yesteryears, those like Liverpool feeder system
Morgan
years.
Schneiderlin.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Oh my God.
But
Jose Font?
yeah,
Jose Font?
Jose Font, yeah.
I gotta give praise. Adam Lallana. Oh,
Adam
the
Lallana.
vibes
They
of
had.
Southampton at the time. Come on.
Yep.
But I gotta say, I agree with you. In Southampton, I think they're a club. Ever since Pochettino was there managing, I feel like the club has always made wise choices. And having a player like Ward-Prowse, okay, all the Premier League clubs want him, and he still stays. So that shows that he believes in the sporting project that is at Southampton, and he is in the English national team. So Southampton are doing things right, in my opinion, at their club. And yes, being a bit of a feeder club, it's like with talents like Mane, Van Dijk, come on,
Right.
It's very hard.
Van Dijk, right? Exactly. We forgot to mention Van Dijk.
Oh.
I mean that Southampton team was just absolutely amazing, and they've grown even better. Almost every one of them, save Schneiderlin, has grown even better and stronger. So I just think, oh man, what was I going to say?
It's great scouting.
But
it's great scouting.
It is. But oh yeah, you mentioned James Ward-Prowse. Okay, if there is a man that needs a move. Okay, I get loyalty. But James Ward-Prowse, you're talking about this guy is elite and world class when it comes to his free kicks, when it comes to his long shots, when it comes to dictating pace. He can tackle too. Take the step up. He deserves to take the step up.
Go to Newcastle. Newcastle. Partner up with Bruno Guimarães and get the fan base that absolutely will love you. The Geordie fans, they will love James Ward-Prowse. I believe that would be the deal for him if he leaves.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we're in agreement on that because Ward-Prowse, man, his window is closing, right? He's not a young buck anymore. He's getting closer to the 30s if he's not already 30. But the guy has skills that very few people in the Premier League, let alone in the world, can offer to clubs. And I believe that the right club should come in and take him. Newcastle's a great shout. If West Ham want to spend some money on him, you can do that. I've heard West Ham over here at least. I don't know if that's hitting over there. But it is a very, very intriguing thought. And I think now is the right time to do it. But we talked about Newcastle. But things that Newcastle. Oh yeah, sorry.
Yes, just on West Ham, I think Lingard. I think Lingard might happen too, because knows the club, and he's on a free now. And I feel like for Lingard, if West Ham managed to get Ayerola and then Armand Broja Lingard, I know they managed to get a center back for 30 million. That was bold, man. Okay, so like they look, big signings for big transfer fees. West Ham do it, and it tends not to be the best. So hopefully it goes well. And yeah, let's wait and see. But yes, Newcastle, you mentioned it. And yes, Sven Botman to Newcastle. It happened exactly. AC Milan got beat by Newcastle in the signing of Sven Botman. So this shows what they're offering. Okay, a lot of money and a successful sporting project. Okay, I believe that they offer that to Botman. And
but I will say I do think that Sven Botman might not have necessarily been pursued as much by AC Milan like later on, right? And why is that? You've got two guys, Pierre Kalulu and Fikayo Tomori. Those two guys made it almost not needed to go out and now for depth purposes. Still likely would have been whatever the right person, right? They might be able to find it in the academy. I don't know. But really what it comes down to is I think Sven Botman, Lille getting 39 million, 40 million for him after only spending 8 million to poach him away from, was it Ajax? Yeah, from Ajax. Man, that was Luis Campos, right?
Yeah.
That got Botman in the first place?
Yeah, it was. It was
Brilliant.
Lichkamp. And another deal too that Newcastle
Yes.
did that I feel like for me it's like one of the clutchest deals this summer. Okay, Newcastle did Botman and Nick Pope. Nick
Yes.
Pope is a solid signing
I agree.
for Newcastle because yes, he didn't deserve to go down with Burnley, okay? And I'm very happy for him to stay in the Premier League and in a successful sporting project like Newcastle want to be.
Yeah.
And he can be that goalkeeper for 3-4 years and he just stays there. And 30 years old, I feel like that is the way to go. He was at Burnley since 2016, I think. So
Yeah.
big up on
And
him.
yeah, Nick Pope. I mean, for 11 million euros, I don't know why you don't do it.
Exactly.
So Nick Pope, but also the other one that went under the radar, them getting Matt Target as well.
Ooh, yes.
Matt Target is a
True.
very, very, very solid left back in the Premier League. And that's just one of those kind of Newcastle depth issues that they are starting to build the pieces instead of go after the flashy Neymars that we want them to go after right now. They are going after the pieces they know they need to shore up a roster that had its holes.
Yes.
Right? That definitely had its holes. So I love their transfer
Do you
policy
think,
as it stands.
Do you think from what you're seeing, like that Newcastle have a chance to end up ahead of Villa and Wolves next season? I believe Newcastle are really doing great deals. Like Bruno Guimaraes, Botman, Dan Burn, Nick Pope, Eddie Howe is a coach. I feel like the sporting project, you get a feeling that long term they have a proper grip. A proper grip. Bruno Lage at Wolves, I hope it goes well. Stevie G at Aston Villa, I hope it goes well. But there's a bit more doubt. More doubt. So that's why I'm very bullish on Newcastle. That's why I asked you the question, because I felt like you were like, oh my, that's a hard one. So I might inch with Newcastle. So
it is a little difficult to say, but I mean, if they get their right core in place, because remember, they've already set the stage with Dan Burn,
and the
right?
whole record.
They've got this they've got this defensive core that clearly they're starting to build out of that is very Premier League worthy. Is it Premier League winning worthy? No. But is it Premier League worthy? Absolutely. So if you get that defensive core in place and you start to put the pieces around it, and you get the most of San Maximin before you move them on, if you move them on, or you get the most of what Joe Linton has, or Almiron too.
Joe Linton, come on, that's great shout, Bretson. Like that's
there's
a signing
a possibility.
Itself.
There's a possibility they could pip Villa. There's a possibility they could be fighting for 7th or 6th place next year.
I believe in it. I legit believe in it too, Breton. I believe Newcastle. And it's the fact too that everyone in that club knows that they're replaceable. Everyone. That has an effect. Newcastle, if you're a player at Newcastle, you know, I can leave next January. It's not even like next season. It's like in January I go. So that has a lot of value psychologically with the players. And I just wanted to shout out with that one, Newcastle, in which position you thought they might end up. And I just want to say this too, just so I don't forget to shout this out. Florian Wirtz, 2027 renewal. Okay, with Bayern Munich. With Bayer Leverkusen. In my opinion, is the right.
Slip.
I slipped, what I wanted to say. No, but Florian Wirtz, Bayer Leverkusen, 2027 makes it harder for us to see Bayern Munich getting Wirtz. That I believe, just like Mbappe Real, okay, Rice Chelsea, Florian Wirtz, Bayern Munich is inevitable too, in my opinion. And if Wirtz didn't have that ACL injury, I fully believe Bayern would have spent 60-70 million to get him this summer and to be the blockbuster signing of Bayern Munich with next to Gravenberch. Come on, that would be just like the way they would publicize it. Bayern Munich investing in the future. Come on.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. I don't know why Bayern wouldn't do it. If a Inter Milan or a Juventus are completely comfortable going after a Nicolo Zaniolo after 2 ACL surgeries Why wouldn't you go after a Florian Wirtz with one? I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
Oh, okay.
But
Sorry,
no,
sorry.
I am saying yes. I completely agree with you.
Yes.
It would have been Wirtz to Bayern
Mhm.
headlines if he was healthy. He ended the season the way he started, and went through the season. Uh, it would have been Bayern headlines all over the fact,
Mhm.
especially with this roster turnover. I think you're about to talk to us about. Bayern Munich is not the Bayern Munich of Lewandowski and Thomas Müller anymore.
Exactly, exactly. And you have Sadio Mane now coming in.
You
Times are
do?
changing, and he's the top earner, I think, at the club. 20 million a year. So I think he fully deserves it. And if there's a man in football that deserves to get that money, it's Sadio Mane. I'm more than happy that he's successful because he's bringing back to the African culture in Senegal. And man, what a beautiful person. Like, he's such a good man,
Mhm.
Sadio Mane. So I just wanted to
I'm
say
gonna
that. But
I'm gonna say something
sorry,
unpopular.
say
Something
yes.
unpopular. Just to get it in there.
Mm.
Why do you think Sadio Mane picked Bayern Munich over other teams?
Money and status.
Yeah.
I think money and status both.
But
I
but
think
I'd imagine he's gone down in status going to Bayern in the Bundesliga,
I don't
where they've
reckon.
won
I don't.
won 10 years straight.
Well, Bayern. In terms of like being the man, I feel like he's seen more as the key player at Bayern
Yeah.
than he is at Liverpool. Because let's be honest, like Liverpool's style of play is very exhausting, and that's why you need a squad rotation, and that's why Luis Diaz, when he came to Liverpool, it was just so much better because the minutes, everyone had less minutes, and so the
Yeah.
productivity could be better. So with Mane, with Bayern, I fully
Mhm.
believe we'll see the best version of Sadio Mane at Bayern Munich. I really believe that. Will it be a Ballon d'Or worthy winner? I'm not going to
No.
say that. I'm not going to, because Lewandowski didn't win the Ballon
Correct.
d'Or at Bayern Munich. That is a robbery, I got to say fast. But
Yeah.
if Sadio Mane gets to that level, I don't think. I'll think it'll be more of a team push. A team
Sure.
glorified, like they did it. So, but getting a
Yeah.
replacement for Mueller is the
Mhm.
long-term worry that Bayern Munich need to fix. So, yeah, I just
Yeah.
wanted to
Well,
mention with
all I
that.
can say is that left side,
Mm-hmm.
Sadio Mane, Alphonso Davies.
Shush.
I pity any Bundesliga defense. I mean, that just sounds too good to be true.
Sounds
So I
fast, even.
hope, yeah, and Kingsley Coman in reserve, right? I
Oh
mean,
my god.
it's like I don't know. Those are not
Fast and
interchangeable
Furious.
parts, but my goodness, that is gonna hurt.
Bro, douche. That's those three players you mentioned. Oh, then you have
Yeah.
Sane. My days. I
Mm.
don't see Sane news to leave, but Gnabry. I don't see any more
Yeah.
Gnabry news. You remember? Like people,
Yeah.
Gnabry's going here,
There's a lot of
Gnabry's
that.
going there. So let's not
Back to
sleep on
Arsenal.
Gnabry. Let's not
Right.
sleep on Gnabry, but let's wait and see.
Oof.
Like I've got here my last transfer that I want to shout out here in episode
Mhm.
61. I gotta stay home. I gotta stay with the whole Portugal. And I gotta
Benfica.
say something huge happened here in the Portuguese news. And it's huge because I feel this is a player that will have the same impact that stays 1-2 years in Portugal and then is sold for 70, 80, or maybe 100 if it works
Talking
out
about
well. Enzo Fernández.
yes.
Enzo
Yeah.
Fernández going to Benfica. That I gotta say, Breton, though, I am not happy with how the deal is done. I'll be honest. But if the deal wasn't done like this, I have words. I know that
Yeah.
Enzo wouldn't have gone to Benfica. Okay? This
Okay.
is what I was told because there is better offers right now
Okay.
for Enzo Fernandes, but the offer of Benfica has something special. And it is
What's
that he
that?
stays at River Plate until the end of Copa Libertadores. And we
Oh,
all
I did not.
know how Marcelo Gallardo is so emotional with his players. This is why I love him. He is he's like a psychologist as a manager
Sure.
too. He really goes to the psyche of the players. And that Julian Álvarez, Enzo Fernandes, Enzo Perez is there too. But these two youngsters are very, very emotive and they love River Plate. And that's why I feel like Benfica made Sporting wise, I'll say more forward. But in terms of a transfer, 10 million forwards and 8 million in variables.
Yeah,
that's a good deal. But the only handicap is he arrives after Libertadores, so it will be until December. That's a big handicap because resources were allocated.
Just watching Enzo Fernández. I honestly believe he's a better prospect, has a higher ceiling than Julian Álvarez does. Watching him. Yeah, I mean, they're very different players, obviously, very different positions. But I mean, this kid, I think almost the fact that Julian Álvarez was the guy in the headlines at all times for River and his move to Manchester City, that couldn't have helped Enzo Fernández more, right? Because all he did was ball out day in, day out. I mean, he is an immensely important player, obviously, as it seems, for Marcelo Gallardo and River. He's versatile. I mean, the Enzo 2 years ago pales in comparison to the Enzo now at, I think he's 21 or so.
Yes.
So I absolutely, I saw he was going to Benfica. It's been rumored for a very long time. I did not know that he would do the Julian Álvarez and essentially be staying with them. So I didn't get to read the fine print of it all. But Enzo Fernández, you're absolutely right. I mean, he should be a 5, 6, 7x type of investment for Benfica in the near future.
And in the playing style wise, what should people expect with Enzo? He's a player. He's a modern day 8 that can defend very well, can attack very well, and he is so comfortable to play at the 10 role, the 8 role, and he can drop back. He drops back to do those tackles that not a lot of players are willing to do. And I fully expect Enzo Fernández to be a national team starter for Argentina in midfield in the next 10 years, if everything works out as it should at Benfica. He's already there at the national team, but at Benfica, we can see him develop into a world-class player that I fully believe it can happen. Just like Álvarez at Man City, man. I believe I believe him.
I gotta ask you, Alex. I mean, I feel like, are you getting soft here? Are you getting soft? Because 10 years, I would bring that window down to at least 5. I think by the time he's 25 or 26 years old, he will be the starter. One of the first players on the team sheet for Argentina.
Sorry.
If all goes well.
A legacy of 10 years. I'm sorry. I'm starting from this year, 21. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
I believe like 22, playing at Benfica, playing with Otamendi there. I feel like the likes, he will go up. He will go
Fair
up.
enough.
And I feel like he will start. Not in the World Cup maybe, but I do believe he's definitely going to Qatar in that plane to the World Cup.
Yeah.
So
well, he's one injury away from doing something at the World Cup. Not his injury, but somebody else's injury. So more enamored with the Enzo Fernández signing than you are the David Neres.
Ooh, I'm much more excited for the Enzo Fernández because I believe that Enzo Fernández is the type of player that brings you championships. He's the star, man. In midfield, you can play with 2 players now because you got Enzo. He's that type of midfielder. If it was more attacking, more defensive, you couldn't. You got to play with 3. But he allows the midfield to be with 2. And I'm dying to see who Benfica gets at the CDM. And for me, Benfica should go and get Sangaré that was with Roger Schmidt at PSV. If next season, in January, Benfica's midfield has Sangaré and Enzo Fernández, I don't know what to say. That would be just ideal. It would be beautiful. It would be the best midfield that they can possibly have. So
more specifically, regardless of Benfica, I would love to know your thoughts, maybe for a separate post. But I would love to know your thoughts on what the hell is Porto going to do with all that money?
Yep, and a lot of that. Porto is in a lot of that. And by the beginning of this year in Portugal, the news was Porto had to pay 70 million to the banks. 70. And yes, people, we all know it was 80 million. The Fabio Vieira deal 40, Vitinha supposed deal to PSG 42. So it's the amount just justifies the fact that they just want to clear the depth. They just want to. And shout
Makes
out
sense.
to Ivan Nielsen. Shout out. We don't. It's true. We don't talk about Ivan Nielsen as much as Darwin. Of course not. Look, Darwin performed in the Champions League and he had better numbers in the league. But that doesn't make that Ivan Nielsen is a bad player, people. Okay, he's a great talent at Porto. Okay, but I want to see him another season. 70 million for Ivan Nielsen right now to United would be a huge mistake for United. A huge mistake. So, stay another season at Porto, develop, become better, and then I do feel he will leave because we don't see a lot of young strikers available in the market. And it is true, Ivan Nielsen is strong. He's got a good finishing. The only thing he really misses is the confidence to bang in every single game. And with Taremi, next season, I believe Porto will be good because Porto is selling Vitinha and Fabio Vieira. Okay, but Otavio's still there. You know what I mean? Like they still have core players. Uribe. Not a lot of people talk about Uribe, and if there's a player in Portugal that, in my opinion, could play in any team in the world, not a starter, okay, but just be there, Uribe, Mateus Uribe of Porto, excellent six. What a player that allowed Fabio Vieira and Vitinha to do them. To just be them, express themselves. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
So I just wanted to shout out.
We spent a lot of time on the Prem. There are a couple others that I just want to bring up. I don't think we need to bring up the whatevers about it, the terms and everything. But man, like under our nose, so many of these young guys that you and I have been tracking over the years, they've all made their moves recently. Two in particular that I have to bring up. You like to talk about Darwin Núñez, completely understandable. We all know the pedigree that Darwin has to follow when it comes to Uruguay and their strikers. Yes. Okay. There's another one behind Darwin who's really not that much younger, but Canario Álvarez, Agustín Álvarez Martinez.
Yes.
He is going to Sassuolo for 12 million. I don't know if you saw that, but that is one to watch. Watch him in the Serie A. I honestly believe he's going to score quite a few goals, and he's another Peñarol connection, another one out the door. So Canario Álvarez is definitely, I think he's 21, but a very, mobile, bigger striker, kind of got some similarities in some respects to Darwin, but still kind of honing his game. The other one is a Swedish Wonderkid that we talked about, 18-year-old. Yes, Williot Swedberg, who is heading to Celta Vigo.
Yes.
And that's one you definitely need to watch. Cheap. I think it was for like 5 million.
Luis Campos is the advisor. Amazing. He's the advisor of Celta
There you go. Well, there you go.
That's a great shout, Breton. That is a player that people have to remember him as a Swedish national team player already. Okay, already. Yeah. We have to see him for Sweden. I love that show.
Yep. Yeah, and last one I got to throw out there because this was last week. I was so excited to talk about this guy. We've talked a lot today, but back in the Premier League, you know me and the Brighton transfer policy and how excited I am. But they have signed one I really care about and one I don't really care about. But they have signed Julio Enciso, who's 18 years old. He joins for like 12 million euros, which is it's just good business. It is low risk, high reward potential. Even if he winds up never playing necessarily, right? It took Alexis McAllister, it took some other players of theirs, Moises Caicedo, some time to really start to break into Brighton. Even if he doesn't wind up playing, he will be sold on. He will be sold on for a profit. Exactly. Julio Enciso has been scoring in Paraguay. He is widely seen as one of Paraguay's top young talents. Once again, I'm going to pull out the Fabio Vieira card and say I'm a little worried about his size in the Premier League for Enciso, but he is a very, very solid player that you'll want to watch, another striker for Brighton. And then they also went to FC Nordsjælland and signed Simon Adingra, who's a Cote d'Ivoire winger, very decent player for kind of more money than I would have expected him to. But anyway, Brighton is
Mhm.
I mean, Kozlowski, Motor, Karbaunik,
Ooh.
Sima, Caicedo, Cucurella, Lamptey. I mean, this is just fun business.
Graham
I
Potter
love Graham
masterclass.
Potter. I love Brighton, and I want to see him do well next year. I'm not ashamed to say it.
It's beautiful. And I have to ask you on this for episode 61. I have to know
Yeah.
this. Bale.
Yeah.
We got to talk about this one. Bale. Bale went
You want to go
gold.
MLS? Yeah.
Yes, let's we have to talk just
Well,
quick, man. Bale.
We can dip our toes in. Okay. Let's set it up. Major League Soccer just signed a big 10-year deal with Apple.
Mhm.
250 million a year. It's like 150 million a year more than their previous deal. Okay.
My days.
With various TV networks. They also have a lot more money that will be coming in for whether it's local deals or on-demand deals, things like that. So, long story short, everybody's saying, the US is a rich country, right? The NBA, they spend a lot. The NFL, they spend a lot. Why doesn't Major League Soccer just spend a lot? Well, the coffers are going to open a little further moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, they're still operating under the stringent coffers that they have been. And on paper, Gareth Bale looks like the retirement league, right? Type of moniker that MLS has gotten. But we all know that Gareth Bale has something to offer. And to be honest,
that's true.
If I'm LAFC and I've got the people I've got, Magic Johnson and all these other 50 owners that they've got that are all millionaires and billionaires in their own right, it is a very good calculated risk to get more people in Los Angeles, in the United States, watching every game because who's going to be there? Gareth Bale. We all watched David Beckham when he came over. We all watched Wayne Rooney when he came to DC United. Mm-hmm. There has been this trajectory where if you get the right name, people will watch. And Gareth Bale, he's a name. He's 5 Champions League. He loves golf, fine. But best man, player. Is he capable? He's capable of like the ridiculous. Okay, Bale, and that's what people want to see.
Bale arrives in the MLS at 32, and immediately, I think this is not a debate, he is the best player in the MLS when he arrives.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And what we can have a discussion is when there's another player that does arrive, and I want to ask you this. Who would you rather have with Insigne and Bale? I know you're high on Insigne, too.
Oh, yeah.
So that can be the rivalry next season. Okay, LAFC against Los Angeles Galaxy. That's the rivalry. Yeah. But in terms of league, like I think Insigne will work out well at Toronto and Bale at LAFC. But there is another player that went to LAFC too, and we gotta shout him too. Giorgio Chiellini, okay? The man with the experience at the back and adding with Vela. Vela that is a player that's always in contention to be the best player in the league. We all know in the past that Ibra versus Vela.
We loved it.
Come on, Ibra all the way.
Ibra
all the way.
I mean, LAFC has had their best times with Carlos Vela. The fact that they have held on to Carlos Vela and brought in Gareth Bale and brought in Chiellini. Chiellini is very much a retirement league type of thing, but we all know what Chiellini provides in the locker room. And obviously, it was only, a year ago that he was winning the Euros with Italy. This man still has something in his tank. And when it comes down to it, Lorenzo Insigne, it just makes sense. The Italian community in Toronto hit it out of the park when they brought in Giovinco, right? Giovinco from, I forget.
Juve.
Was it from Juve? Yeah. He was such a massive signing for them. And they, as if you thought they couldn't go out and find somebody, Insigne is 31?
I'd say 30, maybe older, 33, 34.
Might be older? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he was still on top of his game for Napoli in Serie A. One of the better all-around players there. And I think you're right. I think this could be the rising from the ashes of Toronto FC again. I think LAFC and the Galaxy are going to have to step up their game in that department, signings. And there is more money that will be coming into Major League Soccer. Absolutely. And there will be more spending. And some will hit and some will miss. But even a team like the Columbus Crew, widely seen as a mid-market team, you don't look at Columbus, Ohio and say, my goodness, there are millions and millions and millions of people there that just breathe, eat, sleep soccer, right? Now they do when the U.S. men's national team plays, because when we want to beat Mexico, we put it in Columbus or we put it in Cincinnati now. But long story short, they just signed Cucho Hernandez for about $10 million. 23-year-old guy can score goals. Guy has been stuck at Watford, really not getting his chance at Watford, but has scored goals elsewhere. I think he's going to hit the ground running, much like oh my, why am I forgetting the Atlanta United striker's name?
Joseph Martinez. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph Martinez from Serie A. That's the baby. Yeah, waking up for the baby. Anyway. Long story short, this is a new time for Major League Soccer. We talked about Major League Soccer going 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. You will see new names come into the league.
Exactly.
I love it.
I feel like this Bale is the first name. I feel like the names that are going to come to the MLS in the next 3-4 years, I fully believe we will have Neymar going to the MLS, Pogba going to the MLS, Messi going to the MLS. And I do believe there is a chance of Cristiano being at the same time in the MLS as Messi. I believe there's that possibility. But he can come back home to Sporting too.
Here's all I care about. As long as those names can come in the door. We have the 2026 World Cup, which we'll talk about in 2 seconds, right? But we have the 2026 World Cup that's coming down the pike here. This stretch from 2022 to the beginning of the World Cup in 2026 and probably the year after it is one of the most important stretches in Major League Soccer and American soccer's history. American football, whatever you want to call it. And this, if they can thread the needle right, right, and not just throw money at those guys you just talked about, who are all worthy of throwing money at, right?
Exactly.
But also bringing in the young players like the Alan Velasco's, even an Ezekiel Barco or a Miguel Almiron, or building the players like a Brendan Aronson too. If they can continue both of those at the same time, as the coffers get wider and the money bags start to open up, this league could make massive, massive strides. But I'm not going to go as far to say it could do what Gianni Infantino seems to think it can do. Gianni Infantino apparently said during the draw, or maybe some interview after the draw, he said that he believes that soccer, football, in the United States or in North America will be the biggest sport by 2026.
By 20. Oh, okay, by 20. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
Remember the comment section when I said in the next like 7 to 10 years, or what did I say, 5 to 6 years? Remember the comment section when I said that MLS could be a top league? Top 5 league,
but that's
whatever.
different. That's different.
He's Infantino's pandering. I don't think he understands how big NFL is, how big NBA is. But
football's
long story
bigger,
short,
man. I'll be honest with you. Football is bigger. Like the real football is much bigger than the NFL and the NBA. I feel like the World Cup itself is bigger than the NBA and the NFL. So like the Champions League and UEFA, they're just waving. Hi everyone. This is a different galaxy. I think
it
tennis,
absolutely
though.
is.
I think
but
tennis
convincing
would be a sport that sorry.
Yeah. Well, tennis has its limitations, but convincing.
True. Sorry. Yeah.
But convincing the American population that American football, that the NBA can be replaced by a world sport, soccer. And basketball is a world sport, don't get me wrong, but when you think of the NBA, I mean, they call themselves world champions when they win the, when you win the World Series in baseball, when, okay, there's a couple Japanese players, there's a bunch of Dominican players, there's a bunch of, whatever. If it's truly world, you have a World Cup.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And that's what the NBA, you feel like they want to be worldwide. But football, football is worldwide already. So it's like, but we have a last shout we're gonna do, right? To the cities?
Yeah, man. To the cities. Well, one city in particular, sir. One city in particular.
I gotta respect that. I gotta respect that. If it was Lisbon.
All I can say is 4 years from now, we're gonna have the biggest FC Wonderkid party. Who knows? It might be called something else then, right? But we are gonna have the largest World Cup party on these shores, and we're gonna invite everybody. It'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, Philadelphia, where I am born and raised in and around this area, got the World Cup. And when you consider that there were only 15 in Mexico, Canada, and the United States that were selected, Philadelphia being chosen over the nation's capital, which is, DC and Baltimore, being chosen over Chicago. It's a big deal. So Philly is, I know we're ecstatic. Everyone I know in this community here is so excited. But think about this, man. In 2026, you can head out to LA. You can head to Miami. You can head to Mexico City. Always wanted to go there. Have never been there and would love to go.
Where's the final?
Probably going to be my guess is probably in Texas, Dallas, maybe. Might be in the new stadium, might be in SoFi, Los Angeles, but it'll be some place that straddles, Mexico and the United States.
Days. I'm already we still didn't get Qatar, and I'm already going crazy with 2026.
I know, dude. I'm excited.
Oh man! But yes, people, put down below any transfer we missed out, or anything that you disagree with us. Put down below in the comment section, so we can see that your thoughts about episode 61. And please, people, do not forget to like this video and subscribe to FC Wonderkid on YouTube, people. Thank you for listening to episode 61, and thank you for going bold, community.